Aralai had never seen a ship like the human vessel. Even while injured, and only half awake, she noticed the clean metal walls, the soft lights, and the low hum of machines. She was lying on a medical table in the center of a room filled with screens and equipment she did not understand. Her world did not use machines like these, and she had spent her entire life believing that the body should heal by nature alone. Now she was surrounded by humans who believed the opposite. They believed in changing the body to save it. The humans spoke quietly as they moved around her. Their language was direct, simple, and confident. They did not panic. They did not rush. They worked together with practiced calm. Aralai could feel pain all through her body. Her chest burned each time she tried to breathe. Her vision blurred, and sometimes darkness tried to take her. But she forced herself to stay awake. She did not want to die in the hands of strangers. She wanted to understand what was happening. A human doctor walked to her side. He had dark hair that was tied back, and eyes that looked serious, but kind. He spoke in the trade language used between many species. "Stay awake if you can," he said. "Your injuries are severe, but we are doing everything we can." 4. 4. 4. 4. Aralai swallowed, though even that hurt. "What is wrong with me?" "Ah, you have internal bleeding, several organ tears, and your body is not producing the enzymes needed for regeneration," he said. "Our scans say your natural healing rate is too slow. You will not survive without advanced intervention." Aralai felt her heart tighten. Her species used herbal medicine and slow, quiet healing. Serious injuries were simply accepted as fate. If someone lived, they were blessed. If they died, it was natural. She had never questioned this. But now, she was facing the truth that nature alone was not helping her. Her voice trembled. "What can you do?" The doctor looked at the other humans before answering. "We want to install a medical implant inside your body. It will regulate your healing, stop the internal damage, and support your organs while they recover. With it, you have a high chance of survival." Aralai stared at him. She thought she had misheard. Machines? Inside her body? The idea was horrifying. She felt her muscles tighten and her pulse race. Her people believed that the body was sacred and natural. Nothing artificial should go inside. The idea was frightening, unnatural, almost impossible to imagine. "You are putting something inside me?" she whispered. Disbelief and fear mixing in her voice. The doctor nodded gently. "Yes, it is small. It connects to your system and assists your body in healing itself." Aralai shook her head weakly. "We do not do that. It is wrong. It is dangerous." The doctor did not argue. He only spoke quietly, patiently. "But our scans show you have hours at most if we do nothing. Your body is shutting down. We can't rely on time or on nature. The damage is growing too fast." Aralai looked toward the ceiling, trying not to panic. She thought of her family, her friends, the world she might never see again. She did not want to die here, on a strange metal bed, surrounded by strangers she had known for less than an hour. But the thought of letting them put something inside her body filled her with dread. "How can humans do this?" she asked through shallow breaths. The doctor gave a small, calm smile. "We learned long ago that the universe is not gentle. We grow stronger by improving ourselves. When nature is not enough, we build tools. When the body fails, we repair it. It is how we survive." Aralai listened. She did not understand how a species could be so fearless about changing themselves. Her world taught acceptance. Humans taught resistance. Humans believed they had the right to fight fate. It was a strange way of thinking, but also powerful in its own way. One of the human nurses adjusted a machine beside her bed. A screen flickered and showed a scan of her lungs and chest cavity. Even she could recognize how bad it looked. Dark areas spread through the image, showing damage she could no longer deny. Seeing her insides like that was frightening, but also strangely eye-opening. Her body was failing, and there was no plant, no rest, no natural method strong enough to heal her in time. The doctor leaned closer. "We are not forcing you. We need your permission. But we want to help you. We can save you." Aralai closed her eyes, trying to gather strength. Every breath sent pain shooting through her body, and that pain made her decisions clearer. If she refused, she would die. If she accepted, she might live, but she would become something her world did not accept. She imagined her people looking at her with fear. She imagined elders calling her unnatural. But she also imagined surviving, returning home, and showing them what she had seen. Machines that worked like doctors. Humans who used science instead of waiting for luck. A future where death was not the only answer. A weak tear escaped her eye. She hated that the decision was so heavy, and that she had to make it, while in pain and terrified. But the truth stood in front of her. Life or death. She could not pretend otherwise. She slowly opened her eyes. "Will it hurt?" The doctor gave a soft, honest answer. "We will put you under anesthesia. You will not feel the surgery. When you wake, the implant will already be working." Her voice was small. "And it will keep me alive?" "Yes. We have used this technology on thousands of humans, and on many other species. It has saved lives again and again." Aralai stared at the ceiling lights. Even the lights seemed different from home. So bright. So artificial. But maybe that was not bad. Maybe this was the kind of strength her people never learned. Maybe survival sometimes meant changing the rules. She gave a slow, weak nod. "I agree. Do it." The humans moved quickly, but still calmly. Machines activated. Displays lit up. And several doctors took their positions. Aralai felt something like relief, mixed with terror. She was choosing a path her ancestors would never have imagined. She was letting strangers with metal tools and bright lights change her body to keep her alive. As the anesthesia machine hummed and the mask lowered toward her face, she took one last look around the room. Humans worked with method and confidence, not with prayers, but with skill. Their technology was not something they feared. It was something they controlled. Her eyes grew heavy, and the last thought she had before losing consciousness was simple but strong. Humans were not afraid to change themselves. And maybe she had to learn that same courage if she wanted to live. Aralai's eyes slowly opened, and the world greeted her with a soft, artificial glow. She expected pain, harsh pressure in her chest, or the burning ache that had followed every breath before the surgery. Instead, she felt only a dull heaviness, like her body was waking from a long sleep. Her vision steadied, and the medical room around her came into focus. She was still on the human ship. She was still connected to machines. And she was still alive. A quiet rhythm beeped beside her, the sound of her heartbeat being monitored. Thin tubes and wires led from her arms and torso to various devices, many of which hummed gently. They were not frightening anymore. Strange, yes. Unfamiliar, yes. But not threatening. At least, not after what she had lived through. Her first attempt to speak came out weak. "Is the implant inside me?" A nurse standing nearby turned toward her with a warm smile. She was a human woman with light brown skin and a relaxed expression that helped calm the room. "Yes, the surgery was successful. The implant is stable, and your vitals are improving faster than expected." Aralai was relieved. But a wave of anxiety followed right behind the relief. Something artificial was working inside her body, pumping energy, fixing damage, supporting organs that once struggled alone. Her people had always believed that the body should not be altered. She had never questioned that belief, until survival forced her to. A man entered the room, Dr. Halden, the one who oversaw her treatment. He tapped a small device on his wrist and brought up floating projections of her internal scans. She could see her organs glowing in soft colors, lines and symbols she did not fully understand appearing beside them. "You are healing well," he said. "The implant is regulating organ pressure, rebuilding tissue, and managing blood flow. Your natural healing enzymes are also increasing significantly." Arelai watched the image on the display. She was not used to seeing inside her own body. Her world did not have such devices. They relied on simple tools and natural senses. Her mother had once said that whatever happened inside was between the individual and nature. Now, she was learning that humans believed the inside of the body was something to examine, understand, and fix, like a machine. Her voice trembled slightly. "So I am working with a machine now?" Halden nodded without hesitation. "Yes, but only as support. Your body is doing the healing. The implant is helping your natural systems do what they were always meant to do." Arelai leaned back, trying to accept that idea. She could not feel the implant, yet she sensed something was different. She felt lighter. Her breathing was easier. Her chest no longer screamed with every movement. A strange calmness settled over her. But in that calmness, a new fear grew. "If I return home like this," she said slowly, "my people might see me as changed, different, not natural." The nurse and doctor exchanged a silent look. They understood. They had seen this reaction before, even among their own kind. Many humans once feared implants, and cybernetics too. But humans were a species that pushed past their fear when their survival demanded it. Dr. Halden spoke gently. "Your people will need time. New ideas often cause fear at first. But someone always has to be the first to show what is possible." Arelai closed her eyes. She knew he was right. But the weight of that responsibility was heavy. She was just a single girl, from a small village, on a quiet world. She had not been raised to lead change or start debates. She had only wanted to live a simple, peaceful life. Yet now she was facing something her culture had never prepared her for. A soft pain, not physical, but emotional, pressed against her chest. What would her mother think, seeing metal working inside her daughter? Would she approve? Or cry? Arelai did not know. As she rested, she heard distant voices in the hallway. Several of her own crew had arrived on the ship after receiving communication from the humans. They were worried, afraid, and confused. They wanted answers. Soon, 4 members of her alien crew entered her room. Their skin had the same soft, luminous tone as hers, and their robes were woven from organic materials grown on their homeworld. Their eyes widened the moment they saw the medical machines, as if the room itself was dangerous. One of them, Elder Ron, stepped forward and spoke in their native tongue. "Arelai, you are alive. Thank the spirits." She smiled weakly. "I am alive because of them." Ron's expression hardened slightly. His eyes narrowed as he glanced at the machines. "The humans put something inside you." Arelai swallowed. "Yes, otherwise I would have died," Ron replied sharply. "We heal with the body. If the body fails, then fate has chosen." Halden stood silently nearby, listening but not interrupting. He understood that this was not a moment for him to control. Arelai had to speak for herself. Her hands trembled slightly as she answered, "I know our ways, but in that moment, fate was not choosing. I was dying, and humans saved me." Another crewmate spoke, more gently. "But at what cost? Your body is no longer as nature intended." Arelai looked at her scans still hovering in the air. "My body is stronger now. It heals faster. I feel alive again." Ron shook his head. "Our ancestors believed that the body should return to the dust unchanged. If you carry machines inside you, How will your spirit be recognized when the time comes? Aralai lowered her gaze. That belief had shaped her since childhood. She remembered stories told under starlit nights, stories of spirits traveling home when the body died. But lying on the operating table, she had felt no spirits coming to guide her, only pain and the cold warning of death closing in. She lifted her head and spoke with unexpected strength. If I had died, I would have returned to dust before my time. Is that what the spirits want? Or do they want me to survive, to return home, to live? The room fell silent. Even the humans paused in their work. Her words were simple, but they came from a deep place inside her. Ron slowly turned toward Dr. Halden. Why do humans risk so much? Why do you fight nature instead of accepting it? Halden answered calmly. Because nature is not always kind. We lost many lives before learning that we could fight back. Our bodies were weak, so we made them stronger. Our medicines were slow, so we made them faster. Every scar in human history taught us that survival is not something we wait for. It is something we build. End quote. He looked at Aralai with quiet respect. She faced the same lesson. She chose to survive. The alien crew exchanged uncertain glances. Their beliefs were built on centuries of tradition, slow living, patience, and acceptance. Humans were the opposite, driven, restless, determined to resist the universe instead of submitting to it. Ron finally exhaled. This choice is hers. We cannot deny her life when it has already been returned. Aralai felt her chest loosen with relief. Her people might not fully understand, but they were willing to let her live with her decision. As her crew quietly left, the room settled into calm again. Aralai closed her eyes and breathed in deeply. The air did not hurt this time. A machine inside her body had given her that simple gift. She realized then that survival sometimes meant challenging the old ways. It meant changing when the universe demanded it. Humans had learned that long ago. Now, it was her turn to learn it too. For the first time since awakening, she truly understood her choice not as something forced by fear, but as something she accepted with her own will. She was alive, and she would decide what her future meant. Aralai spent the next several hours in recovery, trying to understand the new reality inside her body. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of machines and the rhythmic beeping that reminded her she was still alive. Each breath no longer hurt. She could feel strength slowly returning, but she also sensed the presence of something else, something functioning inside her that was neither natural nor familiar. It was strange, but it was helping her, and that truth she could not deny. Dr. Halden entered again, this time with several other human medical specialists. They carried data tablets and holographic tools. One of them adjusted a floating screen that showed her organ function in real time. Aralai's eyes followed the bright shapes and lines, still amazed that humans could see inside the body as easily as if looking through glass. Halden spoke in a calm voice, as if trying to balance information with reassurance. Now that you are stable, we need to test how well the implant is adapting to your biology. Every species is different. Some accept cybernetics easily, while others need adjustments. Test again. Aralai nodded. She already knew that her body was not reacting like a human one. Her world's biology ran slower, relying heavily on natural regeneration. The implant was increasing her healing speed, but her cells sometimes struggled to keep up with the rapid boost. She could feel it, a subtle pressure under her skin, like a machine and a body learning how to communicate for the first time. The medical team positioned a scanner above her chest. A gentle light passed through her, and data streamed across the screen. One of the human experts raised his eyebrows. Her tissue density is lower than expected. Her body heals slowly, because her system prioritizes energy preservation. Another doctor nodded. So the implant is pushing her metabolism into a level her biology has never reached. Halden looked at Aralai. This is what makes humans very different. Our bodies evolved for rapid response. We built technology that matched our speed. For your species, this is new territory. We will guide it slowly." End quote. Aralai listened carefully. She did not feel fear this time, only curiosity. Humans spoke about bodies the way engineers spoke about machines. They broke down the problem, studied it, and prepared to fix it. This way of thinking was not wrong, just unfamiliar. The doctors activated the simulation mode of the implant. Aralai suddenly felt a wave of heat move through her chest, not painful, just powerful. Her heart rate rose slightly, and the screens lit with new readings. She gasped softly. Halden explained, "The implant is expanding your vascular flow. It is helping new nutrients reach damaged areas faster." "Can you feel anything unusual?" Aralai searched her senses. "I feel warm, and I can feel my heartbeat more clearly." "That is good," Halden said. "It means your neural connection to the implant is forming. Over time, you will be able to sense its activity and know when it changes." Aralai stared at him, surprised. "You mean I will understand the machine inside me the way I understand my own body?" Halden smiled. "Yes. Humans learned long ago to work with our technology as if it were another organ. After a while, you won't even think of it as separate." The idea was overwhelming. Her people believed technology should stay outside the body. Humans believed technology could become part of the body. And now she was standing at that bridge, experiencing their philosophy firsthand. As the simulation continued, her alien crew waited outside the glass window of the observation room. Their expressions ranged from worry to fascination. They did not understand what was happening inside the machines. They did not understand how humans had become comfortable with something that seemed unnatural. Ron, the elder, watched especially closely. His eyes followed every motion of the robotic arms, adjusting the equipment. He was quiet, but Aralai sensed he was learning as much as she was. Suddenly, the implant sent a surge of corrective force through her system. Aralai gasped loudly, gripping the sides of the bed. Dr. Halden immediately raised a hand. "Stop the cycle, her system is overloading." The machines powered down, and the lights dimmed. Aralai breathed quickly, feeling sharp electric pulses running under her skin. For a moment, she feared the implant was breaking her from the inside. Ron stepped forward, alarm all over his face. "You are hurting her!" Halden turned sharply but remained steady. "No." Her body reacted faster than anticipated. "We need to recalibrate." Ara. The other doctors quickly tapped their devices, adjusting software parameters and slowing the implant's output. The pressure under Aralai's skin faded, and her heart rate returned to normal. Halden approached her with a doctor's calm seriousness. "Your biology is resisting the speed. Your body thinks the implant is a threat." Aralai swallowed, still catching her breath. "Is my body rejecting it?" He shook his head. "Not rejecting. Fighting. It is trying to protect itself, but it doesn't yet understand that the implant is helping." Aralai could not help but smile a little through the fear. "My body is as stubborn as my people." That made several humans chuckle softly. But the situation was serious. If the implant kept pushing faster than her body could handle, it could cause permanent damage. Humans gathered closer, discussing solutions. Words like adaptive sequencing, nanite pacing, and biofeedback loops filled the room. Aralai listened, but understood only pieces. Still, she trusted their focus. They were determined, not frightened. That was something she admired. Halden spoke again. "We need to teach your body to trust the implant. We will lower the power levels and increase them slowly. You will feel a few waves of heat or pressure, but nothing dangerous." Ron looked uncertain. "Humans risk too much. You push the body beyond its limits." Halden nodded, not offended. That is true. Because humans spent thousands of years losing battles to nature, we decided to change the rules. Ron frowned. And what did that cost you? Halden looked at him with a heavy but honest expression. Everything. Entire wars, lost generations, millions of deaths. But it also gave us what we have now. A world where survival is not controlled by chance. Ron was silent. He had no answer. The simulation resumed, but more gently this time. Aralai felt a small wave of warmth again, but it was controlled and manageable. The screens showed slow but steady improvement. Her blood cells were repairing faster. Her organ pressure was stabilizing. Her system was beginning to match the implant's rhythm. As she rested, she realized something important. Humans were not fearless because they were reckless. They were fearless because they had learned to survive by refusing to give up. They saw a problem and pushed until they found a solution. Sometimes they failed, but they kept trying. Aralai wondered if her world had ever done that. Had they ever fought nature instead of bowing to it? Had they ever tried to build something strong enough to change fate? She closed her eyes, sensing the implant work inside her soft pulses, gentle adjustments, a strange partnership forming between bone, flesh, and metal. It was not wrong. It was not evil. It was simply a different path to survive. When the tests ended, Halden examined the readings one last time. Good. Your body is adjusting. Slowly. But it is happening. Aralai exhaled with relief. I can feel it. Learning. Halden smiled at her choice of words. Yes. And the more it learns, the more stable you will become. Ron stepped inside the room, his voice softer than before. Aralai, did the machine save you? Aralai looked at him with calm certainty. Yes. But not just the machine. The humans who built it. The humans who refused to let me die. Ron lowered his gaze. Our ways are peaceful. But maybe too peaceful. Aralai reached out a weak hand and touched her chest. Life is peaceful too, but sometimes survival is not. The humans continued their adjustments as Aralai rested. She stared at the ceiling and understood that this moment was the turning point not just for her body, but for her entire way of thinking. Humans had changed themselves to survive. She had now joined that path, and she wondered what her people would think of that. When she finally returned home, the next day began quietly, but everyone on the human medical ship knew things were entering a difficult stage. Aralai's condition was improving, yet the doctors needed to increase the implant's activity to help her reach full stability. Her biology still reacted unpredictably, and that meant the risk of rejection was not over. The humans needed to push her body further, and her body needed to learn to handle the new speed. Aralai woke up feeling stronger than before. She could sit up without sharp pain, and her breathing felt smoother. She touched her chest, not feeling the implant physically, but knowing it worked inside her. That alone was strange. She carried something she could not see, but that kept her alive. It was a new kind of awareness, one her people never imagined. Dr. Halden entered with a tablet in hand and gave her a small nod. Today we begin the full integration stage. Your body is ready, but we must monitor you closely. Aralai took a calm breath. I trust you. Halden appreciated the words. Trust was a fragile thing in situations like this. He stood beside her bed and tapped the screen. We are increasing the implant's output gradually. You might feel strong heat, pressure, or muscle tension. If anything feels too heavy, tell us immediately. Aralai nodded again. She was nervous, but also determined. She had already chosen this path. She would not turn back now. The medical staff activated the main sequence. Machines around her lit up, displaying her organ function, blood pressure, and neural responses. Aralai watched the floating charts with growing interest. Her healing progress looked like rising lines and glowing shapes on the glass screens. It still amazed her that humans could see the body like this. At first, the pressure inside her chest increased gently, almost like a heartbeat that was growing stronger. She tensed slightly, but it was not painful. "I can feel it," she whispered. Halden nodded. "Good. Your nervous system is connecting to the implant more clearly. Let it happen, naturally." But after a minute, the pressure grew stronger. Aralai gripped the sides of the bed, jaw clenched. Her heart rate jumped. The screens flashed yellow as her body reacted. The implant pushed harder, sending waves of energy through her organs. She gasped. Eyes wide. Halden turned to his team. "Hold power at this level. Do not increase." The implant continued pushing, trying to accelerate her healing. The human doctors watched intensely, studying how her cells responded. But her body still resisted. Her blood thickness changed, her oxygen levels shifted, and her neural system sent response signals that appeared as sharp red spikes on the monitors. Aralai felt heat rush up her spine, spreading through her arms and chest. Her breathing quickened. She forced herself to stay calm. But fear rose inside her. She was afraid her body might break under the pressure. Ron, the elder from her crew, stood at the observation window. His face was tense. He pressed a hand against the glass as if trying to reach her. He had once believed that nature must be respected, that altering the body was wrong. But watching Aralai struggle for life had forced him to reconsider everything. At one point, Aralai gasped loudly. "Something is happening." Halden looked at the screen. The data was clear. Her cells are resisting too strongly. If this continues, her organs may begin shutting down. The medical staff immediately began recalibrating. One doctor tapped a device rapidly. Another adjusted nanite flow. A third rewrote the sequence of energy pulses inside the implant. Humans did not panic, they reacted with skill. Ron finally entered the room, unable to watch from behind glass any longer. "You are hurting her! Stop this, before it destroys her!" Halden turned sharply but stayed composed. "If we stop now, her system will collapse the moment the implant lowers its support. She needs to complete integration." Ron pointed at Aralai, who was shaking with effort. "Perhaps your technology is too strong. You try to push faster than nature allows." Halden met his eyes firmly. "Nature is trying to kill her. We are trying to save her." Ra'an hesitated. He looked at Aralai, who was pale but conscious. Her teeth were clenched, but her eyes were not filled with fear. They shone with determination. She was fighting alongside the implant, not against it. Aralai forced out a whisper. "Ra'an, do not stop them." Ron froze. The girl who once believed deeply in their old ways was now asking him to trust humans. She swallowed hard and continued, breath uneven. "If my body must change, then let it. I want to live." Ron's expression softened. He finally stepped back, though worry still lined his face. Halden adjusted the main console. "We need to give the implant a more adaptive rhythm. Aralai's biology is used to slow healing. We must balance natural and artificial pace." The screen flashed as Halden tapped a new sequence. The implant slowed slightly, then pulsed in shorter, more measured bursts. Aralai's breathing steadied. Her vitals shifted from red to yellow, then toward green. Halden exhaled with relief. "Good. It's stabilizing. Her body is learning." Aralai lay back, sweat on her forehead, but the pain faded gradually. The implant's pressure settled into a steady rhythm that no longer felt like a fight, but like cooperation, two systems working together. The human medical staff exchanged tired but proud looks. This was the breakthrough they needed. But the integration stage was not over yet. Suddenly, the screen showed another spike. A strange shift in Aralai's neural responses. Appeared something the humans had not seen before. Her body was trying to reroute energy through an organ that humans had not fully mapped. The implant attempted to compensate, but the two systems clashed again. Aralai gasped and arched her back. "It's happening again." Halden's voice rose. We need to analyze her biology deeper. Open full organ visualization. Holographic displays expanded into a detailed model of Aralai's inner systems. Humans finally saw what her species' biology did differently. A secondary organ near her lungs was taking damage, trying to protect the rest of the system by overloading itself. One doctor whispered, amazed. Her body has a self-sacrifice mechanism. Halden nodded. That is why her people heal slowly. Their bodies focus on preserving the entire system, even if individual organs suffer. Aralai's body trembled again as the organ pressure rose dangerously. If it ruptured, she would die. Halden spoke in a firm voice. We need the implant to support the secondary organ and take pressure away. Another doctor was already rewriting code. Redirecting now. The implant shifted its output. Aralai felt a sudden drop in pressure, not painful, but intense. The overload stopped, and her system balanced again. The screen slowly returned to stable colors. Her heart rate settled. The organ recovered, instead of rupturing. And for the first time since integration began, the implant and her biology flowed smoothly together. Aralai lay back, breathing slowly. She realized she was no longer fighting the machine. It had stopped being something foreign. It was working with her body, helping instead of overwhelming. Ron looked at her with awe. Your body adapted. Aralai nodded weakly. Humans said it would. Halden smiled with tired satisfaction. This is what makes your survival special. You are the first of your species to learn this balance. Aralai rested in silence for a long moment. She could feel the implant inside her, not as a threat, but as a partner. It was something new, something powerful, and something that changed not only her body, but her understanding of survival. Humans believed that when life pushed them toward death, they pushed back harder. Today, Aralai had done the same, and won. She closed her eyes, exhausted but alive. And she knew that the next time she stood on her homeworld, she would return not as the same girl who left, but as someone transformed by the courage to change. Her journey was not finished yet. But for the first time, she truly believed she would live long enough to see what came next. Aralai opened her eyes slowly. For a moment, she did not know where she was. The bright ceiling, the soft white lights, and the quiet humming machines around her did not look like the medical rooms she remembered from her own world. Then, she heard a soft voice beside her. It was Captain Hale, the calm human who had stayed near her bed ever since the surgery began. Seeing her awake, he smiled warmly and called for the medical team. Aralai tried to speak, but her throat felt dry and heavy. She swallowed once, and then tried again. Her voice came out weak but clear. She asked if she had survived. Hale looked almost offended by the question, and said that of course she had. Failure was not something humans accepted easily. Aralai moved a little in the bed. She expected sharp pain or soreness, but instead she felt a strange, smooth sensation inside her body, like something new was working under her skin. It did not hurt. It felt active, alive, and connected to her in a way she could not understand. The human doctor, Dr. Lena, explained gently that the implant was stable. It was now working with her body, instead of fighting against it. Aralai listened in silence, amazed that humans had adjusted an entire medical system during the operation, just to make sure she lived. Doctor. Lena also told her that she had been unconscious for several hours while the implant synchronized with her organs and neural signals. To the humans, this time was a normal recovery period. To Aralai's people, the idea of machines adjusting themselves inside a living patient seemed unbelievable. Before Aralai could ask more questions, she noticed that something else felt different. She could feel her heartbeat, oxygen levels, blood pressure, and body temperature as clearly as if someone was reading them out loud in her ear. She looked confused, and the doctor laughed kindly. She explained that the implant came with a small neural interface that allowed her brain to read certain basic medical information. It was safe, simple, and used in many human patients. To humans, it was a normal part of their medical technology. To Aralai, it felt like magic. Aralai's crew soon entered the room. They looked at her with wide eyes, unsure whether they should celebrate or fear what had been done. The alien commander stepped forward first. He asked her how she felt. Aralai answered honestly. She felt strange but strong, different but alive. Her commander studied her carefully. He had never seen anyone with a machine inside them. Their people believed that bodies should be pure and untouched. But here Aralai was, alive and healing faster than any natural treatment could manage. The commander realized that the humans had not forced anything on her. She had chosen life, and they had fought with everything they had to protect that choice. A small medical demonstration was arranged so the alien crew could understand what had happened. Dr. Lena showed them scan images, biological readings, and computer data from the surgery. She explained how the implant monitored cell damage, injected necessary medicines automatically, and communicated with neural pathways without controlling them. Aralai watched her own crew's reactions. At first, they looked disturbed. The idea of mixing machines with living cells felt wrong to them. But then they saw how Aralai was healing in real time. Bruises had already faded. Internal injuries were repairing faster than their medicine could dream of. Slowly, disbelief turned into something else: respect. Aralai's commander asked how humans had first developed such technology. Captain Hale answered with a serious tone. He spoke of hard times in humanity's past. He told them about plagues that nearly wiped out populations, wars that broke bodies beyond natural healing, and diseases no medicine could cure. Humans learned the same lesson again and again. If their bodies were not strong enough, then they would build strength. If evolution was too slow, they would push themselves forward with science. They refused to surrender to nature or fate. Listening to this, Aralai understood for the first time why humans were so confident. It was not foolishness. It was survival. Later, when Aralai was strong enough to walk, she moved slowly through the research ship. She felt energy in her body that she had never experienced. Every step felt steady and secure. She realized the implant was not just keeping her alive, it was improving her. When she passed a mirror in the hallway, she stopped and looked at her reflection. She looked the same on the outside, but something in her eyes was different. She looked stronger. She looked like someone who had seen death and returned. And she was not alone. She had been saved by another species who believed in fighting for every life, no matter what the odds were. Over the next days, Aralai spent more time with the human crew. She asked questions about cybernetics, humanity's medical history, their scientific culture, and how they dealt with fear. She was surprised when Hale told her that humans were always afraid. They just refused to let fear stop them. That, more than the machines, was their true strength. Aralai shared this idea with her own crew. Some struggled to accept it. They had lived for generations believing that natural life was perfect and must never be changed. Others, however, began to see that their traditions had costs. Many lives had been lost because they never tried to push their bodies beyond natural limits. A message soon came from Aralai's home system. The alien government wanted a full report. They were shocked when they learned that Aralai had allowed a foreign machine to become part of her body. Some officials called the humans reckless. Others demanded she return immediately for examination. But something happened that no one expected. When Aralai spoke to them via live transmission, she did not sound afraid or ashamed. She spoke calmly. She told them how the implant worked, how it saved her life, and how humanity had risked everything for someone from another world. She told them that their people had spent centuries trusting nature, but humanity had learned to trust themselves. Her words spread through the fleet and soon reached her homeworld. Scientists, doctors, and leaders began to debate. For the first time in their history, they seriously discussed changing their medical philosophy. They realized that their future might require more than tradition. It might require courage. Aralai was invited to return as a living example of a new path. But she refused to go alone. She requested that human doctors and engineers travel with her. She wanted her people to learn from them directly, not from second-hand reports. Captain Hale agreed. A joint medical alliance was formed, the first in the history of both species. Before leaving the human ship, Aralai stood with Hale and the crew. She thanked them not only for saving her life, but for giving her people a chance to evolve. Hale told her that humanity did not conquer the universe with weapons. They survived by changing themselves. As Aralai prepared to board the shuttle home, she placed a hand over her chest, feeling the soft pulse of the implant working inside her. It was a reminder that she was now something new, part biological, part mechanical, and fully alive. She was the first of her species to carry human technology, but she knew she would not be the last. The stars outside the window shone bright as her shuttle launched. Aralai looked at the spreading galaxy and felt a quiet certainty. Her civilization had taken its first step toward a new future. Not because of war, not because of conquest, but because humanity had shown them that survival was not just about what nature gave. It was about what you dared to build. She closed her eyes and smiled. She was ready for what came next.